Hi everyone, greetings of the day. It's my pleasure to welcome you all to this webinar on role of intellectual property rights in research and development, organized by the Rajas Engineering College, Vadakangulam. Before entering into the webinar, let me state few instructions to be followed throughout this webinar. Other than the speaker, everyone, those who are attending the webinar, please mute your audio as well as video. If anyone have any queries, you may ask it in the chat box or ask to the resource person at the end of the session. The certificate of participation will be provided only to the participants who submit their feedback form. The feedback form will be provided in the chat window at the end of the session. Thank you. Now I hand over the session to our principal for the welcome address.
Thank you, Mr. Anto. I hope everyone would be hearing me. A very good afternoon to one and all present here. On behalf of Rajas Engineering College, I welcome you all to this webinar session on the topic Role of Intellectual Property Rights in Research and Development. I am Dr. Marlon Jones Lewis, Principal of Rajas Engineering College, Vadakangulam, and I am here accompanied with my coordinator, Dr. Diju Samuel, Associate Professor of Aeronautical Department. I would like to introduce our today's chief guest speaker, Dr. Vivek Anand, Professor and Intellectual Property Facilitation Center in charge, MLR Institute of Technology, Hyderabad, who will be sharing his views on the topics such as basic introduction about IP and IPRs, different forms of IPRs and IP strategies for research and development. To just give you a light on what is meant by intellectual property rights, it is a rights that is given to persons over the creations of their minds. In other words, intellectual property rights refers to the ownership of an idea or design that you came up with. It gives you certain exclusive rights to a distinct type of creative design, meaning that nobody else can copy or reuse your creation without your permission. With these few words, I am pleased to start up this webinar by handing over the session to our guest speaker, Dr. Vivek Anand. Thank you.
Yeah. Good afternoon to all. Thank you for giving the nice introduction. Right, let me share the screen. We will start the session. Yeah. I hope my screen is visible to all of you, right? And my voice is also clear, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So as Sir explained, so what we are going to see in this particular webinar is role of intellectual property rights in research and development. First, we will start from the basics, like what is IP, what is IPRs, and with the IPRs, how we can leverage the research and development, right? How we can generate revenue out of it, right? Right. So first of all, what is intellectual property? So intellectual property, which is nothing but it is a creations of human mind. It is an intangible asset, right? So the properties like flats, plots, whatever it may be, that will come under tangible assets. So whatever the property we are having under tangible assets, we will be having rights over that, right? So no one will take that, right? So similarly, intangible assets like patents, industrial design, copyrights, geographical indications, so many types are there, right? So these are all will come under intangible assets because it is not a physical property. It is the creation of human mind. For that also we are having right over it, right? So that rights, which is nothing but intellectual property rights, right? So it is protected under Patent Act 1970 in India. So before going further in intellectual property rights, I want to clear few basic things. So the intellectual property rights, which is applicable in territorial base, right? For example, if I am having any patent in India, means it is I am having right over my patent in Indian territory, not in other countries. So in simple words, what I can say is all the forms of intellectual property rights are territorial based, right? Yeah. So what is the need for intellectual property rights? So the first one is, if we are having any invention, it may be a small invention or it may be a big invention, right? But by filing proper intellectual rights, we can able to eradicate others from copying our idea or innovation. So that is the first motto of having intellectual property rights. So if you see in industrial perspective, so the industry people, if they are releasing any new products in the market, if it is having potential for more revenue generation, automatically the competitors, they will try to mimic it or directly copying it in any one of the way, right? So to avoid these things, we need intellectual property rights. Then only we can able to suit against the infringers. So this is the edge for company to eradicate the competitors copying their ideas. But if you see in academic perspective, also this intellectual property rights plays a major role. For example, if you see any innovation, you may be having a innovation center. Out of it, if you are having any innovative products or process you come across, that you can go for intellectual property rights. By doing that, you will be having right over your invention, so that you can go for licensing to the industries, or even you can sell their intellectual property rights also. That will be called as technology transfer. So in the way you can raise fund for your research. So this is one way. Next. So these are all the basic forms of intellectual property rights. In India, most people, they may aware of all forms of intellectual property rights, but these are all the major forms. Apart from that, some specific forms are also there, right? So that we will see in the coming slides. So before going in further, most of the people, they may aware of patent and copyrights, maybe trademark also, right? So let's see one by one. Patent. So it is a basic form of intellectual property rights which we can get for any new products or in any improvement in any new process. So I will give you one simple example. For example, I have invented a new product. Let us take a coffee machine, right? So it is a product. For that, I can go for patent. Another one is process. For example, any new drug is there, right? So to produce that drug, I have found any simple process. The drug which is already existing, but I am finding a new simple process, cost-effective process to to manufacture the same drug, right? So that process also I can go for patent. So the validity for patent is 20 years from the date of filing. Here, most of the people, they may not understand this 20-year, it is a patent life which starts from the date of filing, not from the date of grant. For example, if I am filing the patent in 2021, right, I have filed a patent. It was not yet granted, right? So there are so many stages in the up to the patent grant that we will see in the coming slide. For that, roughly it may take 3 years, 4 years, or even 5 years, or even more than that, right? For example, my patent is granted in 2025. Within 4 years, my patent is granted. This 20 years lifetime, it will start from 2020 onwards, from the date of filing, not from the date of grant in 2025, right? So this is your main point. So next one is industrial design. So this industrial design, it's quite different from patent. So in industrial design, what we are protecting, it's only the physical appearance. right? Not its way of working. For example, in patent, I have given an example, right? Coffee machine. The same coffee machine, its way of working can be protected under patent. Its way of appearance can be protected under industrial design, right? Under industrial design, I am not protecting anything related to its way of working. What is the basic mechanism behind that? Nothing. I will see nothing about that. I will see only its physical appearance. That can be protected under industrial design, and its life is 10 years. So here the main point is, if you take patent, for that the grant will take minimum for 3 years or even more than that, right? But in industrial design, the main advantage is you can get a grant even within 6 months or 8 months. You can take averagely within 1 year, you will get the grant if your design is unique, right? And copyright. So the copyright, the copyright, we can go for any musical work, any literature work like books, any artistic works, any images, pictures, films, and softwares, that we can go for copyright. So whatever I am having in the paper or in virtual form, right? So the literature work, musical work, that and all will come under copyright. So for that, the validity is, its life is the life of the author after that 60 years. So its life is quite long when compared to other forms of IPRs, right? So here I want to stress one very, very important point. Here I have mentioned software which is protected under copyright in India, right? So whatever I am saying here, it is applicable only in Indian territory, not in other territories, right? So in India, if you have invented any new software or any app, right, so that you can go for copyright only, not for patent. If you want to patent that idea, patent your software means some hardware should also be involved along with the software. Then only I can go for patent. You got it, right? So for example, I have invented a new app, right? So that will come under software. I can go for copyright only. For example, the same app will not work without any hardware. For example, my app will not work without a particular hardware which I have invented, right? So then for that case, I can go for patent. Yeah. So in simple words, if it is software alone, you can go for copyright only. If the software is involved along with any hardware, new hardware, that can go for patent in India, right? So these three are the mostly used IPR forms by academic people, right? So copyright we can go, industrial design we can go for patent also, right? Before going to the other form trademark, I want to give few examples where we can go for industrial design, where we can go for copyright, right? For example, we are giving projects for our students, right? Let us take for our final year students, right? If in our final year students, they have invented a new product, right, or process. Again, I have used the word invented, not the discover, right? Discover means which is already existing, that I am finding, that is the discovery, right? So discovery will not be patentable, the invention, right? So any new product they have made or any process, we can go for patent, right? For example, a product which is already there, but that particular student, he has done some modification in its physical appearance, that we can go for industrial design. Similarly, the copyright, so many are there, even project report, even lab manual, all we can go for copyright, right? Then trademark. So this trademark is for industry people. For example, I am starting a new company, a startup, right? So for that, I will be going for trademark to protect my brand, symbol, or any mark related to my company, right? For example, if you take Adidas, that is a brand, so that is a trademark. It is also a form of IPR, right? So you may come across Adidas, something like that, right? So that and all infringement. We should not do that, right? So this is all about a trademark. In this webinar, we are not going in depth about the trademark. We will be seeing much about patent, then slightly about industrial design also, right? So then coming to geographical indication, usually we will be indicate this one as GIs. So whatever we have seen, these 4 forms. So this is assigned for individual. For example, if I file a patent, that patent is assigned for me, right? Not for a group of people. I may be the inventor, right? Maybe 3 or 4 inventors are there. this patent is assigned for that particular 4 or 5 inventors, right? But when coming to geographical indication, GI, it is given for a community, not for any particular individual or any group of individual, 4 or 5, right? It is given for a community. For example, the best known example for geographical indication is Tirupati Laddu, right? So Tirupati Laddu, which is giving geographical indication. We have tasted Laddu in other places also, right? But this Tirupati Laddu is somewhat unique, right? Which is produced in that particular geographical location, not in other location, right? The Laddu which is produced at other location, which is not having taste as Tirupati Laddu, that is oriented to its geographical location, right? So that will come under geographical indication, right? So other few examples are also there. For example, if you take in Tamil Nadu, Sirlivittur Palkova, that also having geographical indication. Even our Tanjavur dolls, right? So that and all having geographical indication recently, right? So this is given for a community. So the life of the geographical indication is 10 years. After that, anyone can use that. Yeah. So with this simple example, I want to give more depth knowledge about the forms of IPR, right? So this image, which is nothing but a CD player, right? The CD player way of working, that can be protected under patent. And the CD player way of looking, way of appearance, right? So that can be protected under industrial design. And your music is there, right, in that CD. That music can be protected under copyright. And here in the at the top of the CD player, you are seeing a brand name is there, right? That one is Sony, right? So that will be protected under trademark. And I have given some example for geographical indication also, right? Navara rice, Palakkad and Matta rice, right? So these are all indicating its geographical origin, geographical location, right? So these are all few examples for geographical indications, right? So this is about the basic forms of IPRs. Let's we move to the special forms of IPRs, right? So the first one is plant variety protection. So I hope above 80% or 90% of the participants, you may be having idea about the basic forms of IPR, whatever we have seen so far, but the special forms of IPR may be new, right? Maybe. So first one is plant variety protection. So under this IPR, I can protect any new varieties of plant. If that plant is a crab, its life is 15 years. If that new plant is a tree, that protection life is around 18 years, which is newly introduced in India. Plant and farmer protection law, under plant variety and farmer protection law, right? So the next one is farmer rights. It is not having any specific lifetime period. It is like disclosing the traditional knowledge. For example, a particular community or a particular person who is following any particular farming method which he come to know from his ancestors, right? So if he is disclosing that a particular method, it will protected under farmer rights. So with that, he can go for any royalty or even go for technology transfer, something kind of like that, to generate revenue out of it, right? So this next one is integrated layout design. So integrated layout design means whatever the circuit which I am newly inventing, that can be protected particularly under integrated layout design. So in India, so far we are having only few integrated designs in terms of single digit, right? 3 or 4 or 5, I think. So it is very, very less integrated layout design we are having in India. Its lifetime is 10 years, right? So the next one is trade secret. It is not a form of IPR, but we will see what is the difference between trade secret and the IPRs. So the trade secret means it is like, if you see the IPR so far what we have seen, either it may be basic form or special form. In that we are disclosing our invention, right? We are disclosing our invention. In trade secret, we will not disclose the invention. We will keep it as a secret, right? So that's the reason we are calling as trade secret. Here we are not disclosing. The best example is Coca-Cola. They are not revealed their ingredients secret so far. So that means it is not protected under any form of intellectual property rights. For example, in near future, if anyone can be able to explore the ingredient formula for Coca-Cola, means he can produce it. No one can be able to stop him because they are not having any intellectual property rights over their ingredients. Even other examples are also there. McDonald's sauce, that is also a trade secret. They are not yet disclosed their ingredients, right? Mostly this trade secret, the most general trade secrets you can see in food products, right? So under trade secret, you can protect the practice, any particular specific practice or any specific process that company is doing. So this is a trade secret where we will not disclose our invention, any practice or process, right? So that means it is not protected. Yeah. So up to now we have seen the forms of IPR. Now let's go in depth about the patent. So first of all, what is a patent? So that we have seen, the patent is a form of IPR that I can go for any new product or process. Who can file a patent? Any individual can file a patent, right? So the next is this criteria for patent, non-patentability inventions. Let's see one by one. Yeah, the first one is criteria for patent. So if I want to file a patent means my invention should be a new product or any improvement in the existing process or a new process, right? And it should be possess any inventive step. Some technical advancements should be there. Now, if you see my invention is new and it is having inventive stuff, but it is not having any application in industry, or it is not having any usage for common man, means there is no utility of my invention, right? So then we will not get patent over that, right? So here I have given a simple example. So for example, let us assume this tool which is already existing one, right? This tool which is already existing, I have invented this chair. So let us assume like that. So this is the chair I invented. For example, if you see here, this chair which is not previously existing in IPR world, we will be mentioning this one as prior art, right? So in prior, there is no such thing existing like my chair which I have invented, right? So that means novelty is there, right? Next step, non-obviousness. In this part only, most of the patent will struggle to get grant, even though novelty is there. If it is the obvious one, anyone can able to make that in that particular field, means patent office will not grant patent. For example, this chair I have mentioned, right? It is a new one, novelty is there, but it is a obvious. Anyone with basic carpentry skill can able to make it, right? So then it is a obvious one. So I can't get patent over it, even though it is novel, right? So the next one is, let us assume I have not invented this chair, I have invented this one, that picture, right? So let us assume this is a new one, right? So if you see here, there is no prior art, there is no such thing existing like the chair what I have invented now, right? So novelty is there. And the next one, obviousness. Anyone can't able to make it, right? With some basic carpentry skill, they can't able to make it, right? Because some mechanism also involved, how I can adjusting the seat height, right? So some other sophisticated things are involved, right? Which is not like the PhD candidate or any higher level education people, they can able to do it, but not a layman. Any common one can't able to make it, right? So it is not a obvious one. So non-obviousness is also there, right? So the first two criteria is satisfied. Next one is industrial applicability, whether utility is there. Yeah, anyone can be able to use it. Utility is also there, right? So then only I can get patent over it, right? So this is the criteria for patent. Novelty should be there, it should be non-obvious one, and it should be having a utility. Then only the patent will get granted. Yeah. So the next, non-patentable inventions in India. So these are all the non-patentable inventions in Indian territory. Unreliable invention. So that means I am not having any concrete evidence for my invention. Any basic science or basic data is not available to prove my invention will work out, right? Unreliable invention, that can't be patentable. Next, invention affecting the nature and human. So our invention should be helpful to the humankind. Not it should not create any harmful to the humans, right? So if it is affecting the nature or any human, then even though your invention is new or non-obvious, it will be, you will not get patent, right? So the next one, it is a very important one, medical. Any treatment method or traditional knowledge of treating any particular disease, right, that can't be patented in India, but in other countries we can patent it. For example, like US and all, you can patent your treatment methods and traditional knowledge also, but in India, no, you can't protect. Next, presenting the existing information in a new way. That's only if you are presenting any information which is already available, but you are presenting in a new way, right? For example, one machine is there. That machine I am using for the purpose, for any purpose. Let us take the purpose as A. So the machine is there that I am using to fabricate the component which is named as A. I come to know with that machine I can able to fabricate the component, totally new component B also, right? So for that I can't go for patent, right? Because it is already, the machine is already existing one. I have explored only its potential for other applications. That I can go for patent in India. Next, I explained software I can go for patent. But in other countries like US, you can go for patent for software also. They will be calling a software patent, right? For that you can go. But in India, no, you can't go for patent for software. For example, if you take China, they are also in patent itself, they are giving two categories. One is ordinary patent and another one is petty patent. Under petty patent, you can go for any, here I have told you like presenting the existing information in new way. That also you can go for patent in China under petty patent, but not in India, right? So the next thing is living things. Any microorganism, mostly it may be applicable for biotechnology department. If they come to explore any new microorganism, they have invented any new microorganism, that can be protected under IPR in India. Even though if you are doing any research by using any living organisms, it may be any microorganism. For that, first you have to get approval from the board. Then only you can able to publish patent over it, right? So the next is duplicating the things, that will not be patentable in India, right? So here the new use of known machines and instrument. This just now I have explained. So if you have explored here the new potential application of any existing machine, that you can go for patent, right? Only a new process you can go for patent in India. So these are all non-patentable inventions in India. I'm getting a disturbance. Please mute yourself. Right, thank you. Next. So this is a very, very important part, patent search, right? So for example, I am planning to file a patent, right? So I have not yet started even drafting my patent. I come to know, I feel my invention is new, which is not existing anywhere, right? So the first step after that is I will go for patent search. From that only I will come to know if it is already existing or not, right? So this is the first step where we will start to go for patent filing, right? Patent search, right? So patent search, so many different types are there. Depending upon our need, we have to choose the patent search. For example, my search is restricted to the filing of patent alone, means I will be doing prior art search. Under prior art search, what are all the parameters I will be looking is whether anybody who have already filed patent related to my work, maybe the exact ditto or maybe moreover related to my work, that I will concentrate in prior art search, which will be called as patentability search, right? So this search we will do before filing the patent, right? So the next one is invalidation search, invalidation or validation search, right? So this mostly company peoples they will do, right? For example, there are two companies, A and B. A company, they have founded one new product. For that, they have filed a patent and the patent is granted, right? So that B company is there, right? Which is the competitor for A company. So these people, what they will do is, they will think somehow to invalidate the patent which is granted for the company, right? So for that also they will do the search and they will try to prove this invention which is already existing. In that way they can invalidate the granddad patent, right? This is also there. We will see some case studies also related to it. It is quite interesting area. Next one is freedom to operate search, right? So this is also mostly related to industry people. For example, I am having a company. From my company, I am releasing a product. Let us take I am releasing a product in India, right? So before releasing the product, I will do freedom to operate search. In that, I will check whether any patent which is already there in related to my product. If it is there, what they will do, once I release the product in the market, they will file a suit against me and they will ask damage, right? I have to pay lump sum of money to them, right? To avoid that, first I will check before releasing the product in the market whether any form of IPR is there which is protecting my product, right? That I will check. That will come under freedom to operate search. Next one is landscape analysis. This even our academic people we can do, even industry people they are doing. I will give example for both academic criteria as well as industry criteria, right? First we will start from industry perspective. For example, the industry people, what they will do is they will be having their own patent team, IPR team, or otherwise they will give this to outside party to do the landscape analysis. Big players they will be having their own IPR team, right? So there what they will do is they will be doing the forecasting. For example, in the next 2 to 3 years, which technology will be at the top? For that, what are all the byproducts required? For that, what are all the patents protecting? In that, whether we can do any new invention or not, right? So likewise, they will be forecasting the future and they will explore the market gap where I can go for my product or where I can target any new products, right? So this is a landscape analysis, right? So this is industry perspective. Let us take in academic perspective, right? For example, I am guiding 4 students in final year. Let us take like that. A batch of student I am guiding. For them, I want to give a industry-oriented project. So for that, what I have to do? I have to do the landscape analysis. I will be looking what are all the top companies in my domain area. Right? Domain area means, for example, I am basically from aeronautical department. I will not look broadly in aeronautical domain. In aeronautical domain, I will be specifically looking my area of expertise. In my area of expertise, what are all the companies are there? That I will be sorting out. Then in that particular company, what are all the technologies particularly they are working? What are all the patents recently they filed? Right? So in that area, I will give project to my students. So then my students will be doing industry oriented project, right? So this is also a type of landscape analysis, right? Yeah. Next, now we know the importance of a prior art search. What are all the types of prior art search, right? So now where I can do the prior art search, even a simple Google platform we can do. In simple Google platform also we can do, but other specific sites are also there, free sites. There also you can do the prior art search, right? So this eSpaceNet, first one. So this is European based database. There also you can do prior art search. You can explore this on your own, right? So this patent.google.com. This is here also you can search. This is from Indian Patent Office. There also you can search. Similarly, USPTO, WIPO, right? So IP India, sorry. Second one is not Indian Patent Office. It is a Google platform, right? Like Google search, Google patent search is separately there. So similarly, IP India service. So it is given by Indian Patent Office. There also you can search. In my perspective, in my opinion, I personally like this World eSpaceNet, right? So there you can go for a wide range of searches. For example, let us take I am going to do a project related to electric vehicle. Let us take like that, electric vehicle. So for that, the process of as I explained in the electric vehicle in specific, I will do the patent search, right? For example, if you type electric vehicle in the simple Google, it will give thousands of results, right? I can't go through all the thousands of results, right? So I have to narrow down my search. How I can narrow down? right? In Google, it is not possible. For that only, I have given these free websites. There you can narrow down your search. You can give your keywords, or you can specific the area in electric vehicle, specific areas. In this particular area only, I am going to concentrate. Like this, you can narrow down your search, right? So in that way, the final results, it may be in hundreds, right? So these are all the free database. Some paid database are also there, right? Some paid database like Relicura that we are having, and so many sites are there, paid databases. So, but to start with, you can go with the free database, which is quite enough. Next, so let's see a few case studies. From this, we can able to appreciate how this prior art search plays a crucial role in IPRs, right? For example, in this in this diagram, if you see, this is the invention filed in US, right? So it is like a door for the pet dogs, right? So by using that, this dog can be able to easily enter into the door without the help of his owner, right? So this is the invention filed in US, which got rejected. For that, what reason they quoted is, if you see here, this cartoon. In this cartoon here, in this diagram, this dog which is entering into the door through this glass, right, which is scattering, right? So by seeing this cartoon, this guy got the idea for inventing the pet door, which is moreover similar to it. By quoting this, they rejected his patent. Do you got it, right? Even though it is quoted in the cartoon, they are taking that also as prior art, right? So the next one, so it is a very interesting case study. You may be heard about a famous case, the famous case between Apple and Samsung, right? Which went for years. So we all know Apple won the case, right? So actually the case is filed by Apple over Samsung, right? Because Samsung copied their their design, right? So they have, as I told, the IPRs, all the forms of IPRs are territorial based, right? Sorry, territorial based. So that means the Apple will be they have filed a case against Samsung in mostly in all the major countries, right? Because it is territorial based, they can't file in one country. In US, in Europe, in all the countries, they have filed a suit against the Samsung. They have copied my design, right? So we all know Apple won the cases, right? In most of the country, yeah, I also agree. In most of the country, Apple won the case, but in few countries, Samsung too won the case, right? So what they have done is, I heard in prior art search, I told you invalidation search, right? That they have done. Samsung, they have done invalidation search. In that, they come to know here in the second diagram, you are seeing, right? If this is a movie, in that movie, one particular scene is there. In that scene, it is they have used this screen, right? So what they are doing is, by seeing this movie, this Apple company, they got idea to fabricate their iPhone. So likewise, they have quoted this movie scene, and they have won the case in few countries. They have invalidated the Apple patent, right? So this is the power of prior art search, right? So why I am showing this two case study is, if you are doing any prior art search, you can't do it lightly. You have to do in this much amount of depth, right? So then only in future you can go for any form of filing any form of IPRs, right? Yeah. So the next one is structure of the patent application. Now we will come to the part, what is the IP, how we can protect the IP, then what is the criteria for patent, right? So now let us assume I am giving an idea. I feel like it is novel, right? So for that, I have done the prior art search, right? Let us assume like that. The first step is prior art search. I have done. I come to know nothing is there in prior art. Nothing is there. So my idea is very new, right? So then I will do the experimental work or any work, right? The work related to my idea, and I have made a product out of it, right? So now the work is over. Now I am going to file the patent, right? So for that, what I have to do, I have to draft the patent first, right? So these are all the structure of the patent. The first one is title of the patent, field of invention, objective of invention. Let me see with the example, right? So then it will be more easy. 1 minute. I will share one of my specification drafted by me. Then it will be easy for you to understand. Oh, something is popping up. Okay. Yes, I hope my screen is visible. So with this, I will explain the structure of patent, right? So if you are filing a patent, along with that patent drafted one, I have to file few other forms also. That we will see in the coming slides. First, we will see this is form 2, which will be calling as complete specification. Here only we will give the complete A to Z information about my invention, right? So the first one, it is a title. My title should be more precise. It should reflect my invention, right? It should not be like a 3 or 4 sentence. It should be small and be more precise. Next, here I have given who are all the applicant, right? Next. So this is my field of invention. So the field of invention, it should not be like a paragraph. 1 or 2 sentences is more than enough. So field of invention, followed by background of invention. This background of invention is a very, very crucial part in drafting the patent. The reason behind is, for example, if you see here, my invention is deep slot propellant milling machine. It may be having novelty, but there may be prior art which is more relevant to my work, right? So that prior art I have to quote it here in background of the invention. Then only the reviewer come to know what is the difference between my new invention and the invention which is already existing, right? So in that way, I can give the clear-cut idea to the reviewer about my invention which is novel, right? So this is about background of the invention, followed by summary of the invention. So one small paragraph about my invention, right? So the next is brief description of drawings, right? Followed by detailed description of the invention. So this brief description of drawing, it is not a mandatory part. In your invention, if you need any drawings to describe about the invention, then this is required. Brief description of drawing, or even you can include detailed description of drawing, one more topic also, if it is required. Or otherwise, you can skip this part, you can directly go for detailed description of the invention. Here I have to give the complete detail about my invention, right? So once it is over, this equivalent, it is also not a mandatory part. If needed, you can give. Equivalent means, for example, if you see here, my topic is deep slot propellant milling machine. So the purpose of this machine is to mill the propellant, right? So here I will be mentioning, by using this machine, I can't not only milling the propellant, I can mill other I can mill other components also, right? So that is my equivalent. So I have mentioned here. Here it is the heart of the patent claim, right? So here if you see the claim, we will be giving in numbers, right? So up to 12 or 13 claims, I think there is no extra charge. If you are having more number of claims beyond that, you have to pay money extra for that, right? So this is the heart of the patent. So whatever I am claiming here, it should be clearly and in more detailed manner. I have to explain in the detailed description part. Then only I can claim it here, right? The first claim we will be calling as primary claim. The remaining claims are all secondary claims. That means the remaining claims here 2, 3, 4 and 5, these are all derived from the claim 1. So this is my primary claim, which is followed by secondary claims, right? So then I have given the diagrams, right? Followed by abstract. So this is the structure of patent, right? So I am closing it here. I am going for the PPT. Yeah. So now you all come to know what are the structures in the patent applications, right? So let's move to the next slide. Claim part. So claim also I have explained there itself. So the first claim will be the primary claim. The remaining claims will be the secondary claims, right? And here I want to tell one very important point. For example, if you see here, a T part is consisting. Like this also I can mention. But instead of using the word consisting, I have used the word comprising. That means my teapot is not only having container and candles. Apart from that, there may be some other component also, right? So for that only I have used the word compressing. So always it is preferable to use the word like this, compressing. Your claim, it should not be more open-ended. Similarly, it should not be more closed-ended. It should be intermediate, right? So now coming to, now I have drafted the patent. Now I am going to file it, right? So under filing, there are two forms are there. One is provisional application, another one is ordinary application. Whatever we have seen now, which is the ordinary application, right? So the provisional application means, I have told you people, the patent, the date of filing will be considered as the prior date, right? So from the date of filing, no one can't infringe my work. If they have infringed, once my patent is granted, after that I will file a suit against them, whoever is infringing, right? So usually in industry, what they will do is, for example, I am an industry person, I am representing certain company X and X, right? So I got a new idea, right? But it is not yet materialized. But I feel like my idea is having potential for patent. Then what I will do is, I will not wait up to it is materialized. I will file a provisional specification, right? In provisional patent, I will not give the complete details, but there I will be giving a broad overview about my idea, right? In that way, that particular date when I have filed the provisional specification will become the prior date, right? So that will become my date of filing. Then within 1 year time period, within 12 months, I have to file ordinary application with all the complete details, right? So what I am trying to hear is, with the provisional specification, I can save this 1 year time period, right? So my prior date will be the date of filing of provisional specification. After filing provisional specification, within 12 months, within 1 year, I will file the ordinary application. So this is industry side. In academic line also we can do like that, but my advice is always go for complete ordinary application. Don't go for provisional. The cost also will be more, little bit more, because for while provisional application filing also we have to pay money, and again while filing ordinary application also we have to pay some more money for that, right? So to avoid that, I will always prefer to go for ordinary application, right? So ordinary application, the first jurisdiction where I can file. So in Tamil Nadu, we can file in Chennai, not in other areas. Like in Mumbai Patent Office, I can't file, right? Because my address is in Tamil Nadu. So I can file only in Chennai. So our jurisdiction is Chennai, right? So the next one is Form 1. This Form 1, which is nothing but a registration, right? There I will be giving the details about the applicant and the details about the inventor, right? So here I skipped the part in structure of patent. I will explain it here, right? So if you see, if you are publishing a paper, title, author, that's all, right? But in patent, applicant is there, inventor is there, right? Two are there. So here, for example, I am a individual person, right? I am not attached to any company or any institute, right? So in that case, I want to file a patent on my own. I want the whole rights over my patent to me alone, right? I am not ready to share with any company or with any institute, right? I want to file a patent on my name alone. Means both the applicant and inventor will be me, right? For example, if it is a group of people, 3 or 4 people, that 3 or 4 people may be the inventor, they may be the applicant, right? For example, I want the patent in, for example, we are all academic people, right? I want my patent in the name of my institute, but my name also should be included in that, right? So if it is the case, I will mention the applicant name as institute and inventor name as my name I will mention, right? So you got the idea, right? But depending upon the nature of the applicant, if the applicant is natural person, fees will be something. If the applicant is MSME, the fees will be changing. It will be a little bit more. If the applicant is a big player like a MNC company or like a college institute, for that the fees will be increasing, right? But usually this mistake we will be doing. I don't know. I don't know about what is happening in your institute, but mostly, for example, if you take NIRF ranking, there they will agree even though the patent is applied in the name of the faculty or in the name of the institute. They will agree both the cases, right? But if you go for any ARIA ranking and all, there they will not agree if the patent is filed in the faculty name. They will agree only if the patent is filed in the institute name, right? So that depends upon what you are targeting, right? So next, complete specification, that what we that is the document we have seen, right? So the next one is declaration of inventorship. So this is also a form which is free. In that I will be giving the declaration. I am the inventor, likewise, right? So the next one is publication. For example, I have filed a patent. The next stage will be the publication, right? So while the publication part, it may take roughly 6 months or 1 year or even more than 1 year also to publish your invention. But up to publishing, they will not go through your technical content. They will check only whether the applicant is drafted as per the format or not. They will not look into the technical point of view, right? They will not look into the technical point of view. They will look only whether it is as per the format or not, right? But now I want to accelerate the publication process. I will not wait for 1 year or even 6 months. I want to publish within 7 days. In that case, I have to go for fast track publication. For that, I have to file Form 9 also along with the filing. So for that Form 9, I have to pay extra money. So every Friday, patent office will publish, right? So for example, if I filed a patent on Monday, means it will be published in Friday itself, right? So now I will tell you why we have to go for fast track publication. Usually I will go for fast track publication, that is your wish, but I will give the reason why we have to go for fast track publication, right? So the reason behind is, for example, let's see in industry point of view first. So let us assume I am an industry person. I have filed a patent, right? Let us assume I have filed a patent on January 2021, right? 1st January 2021. Let us assume like that. So then the 1st January 2021 will become my prior date. After 1st January 2021, no one will infringe my invention, right? That is the case. Next, my patent got published in 1st January 2022. Let us assume like that, right? So that time period, which is between 1st January 2021 and 1st January 2022, right? In this time period, if anyone copied your idea, means you can ask them not to copy, right? You can only write letter to them. I have filed a patent on that. It was not yet granted. Once it is granted, after that, I will file suit against you. Like this, you can write the letter. Even though you filed the suit against them, in that time period, you will not get any damage, any money from them, right? The simple what they will tell is, you may be filed in the patent office, but it is not yet published, right? So after the publication date, after 1st January 2022, if they have copied your idea, in that case only you can get damage money from them, right? Before publication, you can't get money from them. After publication only you can get damage or money from them, right? So that's the reason we want to accelerate the publication. It is the industrial perspective. Let us see in the academic point of view. For example, if I filed a patent, I will be getting only a receipt, right? So in that receipt, the title of my patent, temporary application number, which will be my patent application number, and how much amount I have paid, that only will be there. My name will not be there. But by entering this application number in the patent website, I can get the complete details, right? But who will do all these searches, right? Obviously, if you are applying for any government jobs, they will do all these searches, no doubt in that. But I want some physical copy with me to show I have filed the application. In that application, I want my name also, right? In that case, I have to go for fast track publication. Then only in the published copy, I will be having the abstract of my invention, title of my invention, and the applicant name and the inventor name, right? Which will look cool, right? That's the reason most of the academic people, they will go for fast track publication. Apart from that, there is no upper hand to go for fast track publication, right? Once it is published, right? After that, it will go for examination. For examination also, we have to file a form. For that also, I have to pay money, right? So this form for examination that I can file along with the application, along while filing the patent itself, or otherwise, after 3 years also, I can file this request for examination. But up to 3 years, up to you whenever you file the examination form, then only they will look into the document for examination. Up to that, it will be ideal, right? But you can go for the examination request for examination during filing itself, or otherwise after 3 years, not after 3 years, within 3 years from the date of filing, right? So the next, the nature of applicant, I already told, depending upon the nature of applicant, the fees will lead to vary. That we will see now, right? So this is a patent time frame. For example, if I file a patent complete specification, ordinary application, right? Once I file, within this time period, it will get published, right? So that we can go for fast track publication also, right? Once it is published, it is in the public domain. 6 month time is there. Up to 6 months, even though you have given the request for examination, they may not look over, right? They will wait for any opposition from the public side. Then the public side means it is in the public domain. Anyone can oppose it, right? Next is request for examination, right? So after request for examination, they will assign a expert. So the expert will go through your document and they will give the comments, like we will be receiving for the paper, right? Reviewer comments, the same. But here we will be calling as first examination report, FER. Once if you received the first examination report, you have to file a reply within 6 months. After that, if you are not filed if you are not given reply for first examination report within 6 months, means you have to pay little bit extra money for that. You have to ask the patent office to for extension. They may give extension for 3 months or 6 months, right? After filing a form along with some specific fees for that, right? So once I given the reply for examination report, after that they may take 6-week time period to access my FER report. If they feel satisfactory, they will grant it, right? So this is the time frame for patent which we file in India, right? So next, it is a complete specification form. So how much fees is involved, right? So in the form one, I will be giving all the address, all the details about the inventor, right? If the applicant is natural person means individual, cost is 1,600 as per the patent office fee. If it is small entity, MSME or startups, for that it is 4,000. If it is others, MSME or institute, colleges, right? For them it is 8,000, right? So other 3 forms, form 2, form 3 and form 5 are all free of cost, right? So next is request for publication, form 9. I am accelerating the publication process. For that, if it is natural person, it is 2,500 only, right? If it is small entity, accordingly the prices are varying. Then the request for examination, as I told, this you can form 18. Request for examination, this you can file along with the patent application itself, or otherwise even within 3 years after filing. So for that, the fees details is given here. So these all are for e-filing, not for physical filing. For physical filing, the prices will be little bit higher when compared to e-filing, right? So this is about complete specification form, right? So what is the time now? It's almost 1 hour, right? So shall I extend for 5 or 10 minutes for that? Is it okay?
Okay, sir. No issues. You can proceed.
Right. Thank you. So now, one fancy word is outside, right? Like whether you are having a ordinary patent or a international patent. This is the word outside people they are using, right? So here I want to clear you. There is no such thing like international patent. All patent are territorial based only. For example, if I want to file patent in US, I have to file the patent application in US office, right? So similarly, if I want to file a patent in Japan, I have to file a patent in Japan, right? So that means I have to file patent in each and every country, right? Wherever I want to protect my idea, right? So to avoid this complication, for example, in Japan means I have to write in a Japanese language, then only they will go through the document, right? France means I have to write in French. So to avoid this complication, Patent Cooperation Treaty is there. It is PCT, right? So it is concluded in 1978. I am not going into the history of Patent Cooperation Treaty. Let me see what is the advantage of Patent Cooperation Treaty. So under Patent Cooperation Treaty, I can file a patent application in multiple countries. Is it clear? So under Patent Cooperation Treaty, in single shot, I can file in multiple countries, whatever the country which is under Patent Cooperation Treaty. Our India is also under Patent Cooperation Treaty, right? As I told you, as I explained previously, the first stage is filing, then publicity, then they will go for a review, right? So if I file in all the countries separately, means each country they will take their own time to follow this procedure, right? So under PCT, it will be done globally, publishing globally. In a single shot, it will be published in all the countries, right? After that, they will give one review report also. In few countries, the review report given by PCT itself enough. They will not do review on their own. Simply, they will grant the patent. But in few countries like US, even though the Patent Cooperation Treaty, they have given the FER report, there they have mentioned your invention is new and it is giving novel, you can grant the patent. Even though they have mentioned like that, they will do their own review. After that only they will grant the patent. But in most of the countries, they will obey the FER report given by Patent Cooperation Treaty. Simply they will go for grant in most of the countries, right? So in India, where we can file Patent Cooperation Treaty, directly you can file in WIPO. WIPO means World Intellectual Property Organization. There you can directly file, or otherwise in national offices like Mumbai, Chennai, Delhi and Kolkata, there we are having regional offices, patent regional offices. There also you can file the patent first, then you can switch over to Patent Cooperation Treaty mode, right? So this is all about Patent Cooperation Treaty. So here I have given the time frame for Patent Cooperation Treaty. Before Patent Cooperation Treaty, we are having Paris Convention, right? So this is also like multiple countries, but only very few countries are under Paris Convention. So that's the reason usually we will be preferring for PCT, right? So here filing, next filing means this is a filing in regional office. For example, we are Indian resident, right? We will be filing in Indian Patent Office. Once I file in Indian Patent Office, if I want to shift to PCT mode, means for that I am having 12 months time. Within 12 months time, I can shift my patent application from normal regional mode to PCT mode, right? After that, here I have told you, right, the international search report under international written opinion. This will be given to me alone, to the inventor alone. So with that, by seeing the report and opinion, I will come to know whether my invention is having novelty or not, right? So I will be having more confidence once I see the report and written opinion. Then it will go for publication, then it will go for review. After that, it will get granted. Is it clear? So entering normal phase means it's entering all the countries, whatever the countries I have find, right? So this is all about the today's presentation. So I am coming about the presentation. If you are having any doubts, you can ask me now. I hope I have covered the basics of patent, right? We are not going through industrial designs or copyrights, right?
Participants, if you have any doubt, you can ask. You can discuss with the speaker. Moreover, participants, for receiving e-certificate, you have to give feedback in the chat box. Kindly note this: for receiving e-certificate, kindly give feedback about our webinar in chat box. Link is given in the chat box.
Good evening, sir. Yes, good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening, please.
Sir, my question is regarding trade secret. You had said that Coca-Cola never said what the ingredients they had been made. In 2003, Coca-Cola had an issue regarding they are having more pesticides in their ingredients, and finally the court declared in favor of them. In case of giving a company a trade secret, in that case, whether it can mislead the company to adulterate or something else like that?
Yeah. Actually, what happened was all the consumers, they have filed a case against Coca-Cola. They have used some ingredients which is not good for human beings, right? What
Yes.
Coca-Cola come with that? They have simply told, we are not forcing you to drink. If you want, you drink. If you feel it is harmful for human being, means don't drink. We are not forcing you, but we are assuming it is not having any harmful ingredients. We will not disclose. This is a statement made by Coca-Cola.
Sir, another thing is, if a company is having a trade secret, in some cases it might mislead having some adulterated food or something else like that, because whatever product you are going to purchase in the retail shops, you are having the ingredients. If you're
Yeah.
giving a trade secret, it might mislead the company or not. That's my simple query.
No one is giving trade secret. It is a name. They are not disclosing that ingredient. They are protecting it. Right? For that, we are giving the name trade secret. There is no separate organization which is giving the trade secret. Right? So this is a responsibility of the company. They are protecting. They are keeping that on a secret. Right? So this patent office, what they are telling is, if somebody is infringing your ingredient, we are not in the position to answer. Anyone can copy it because you are not shared the secret of your ingredient, right?
Yeah, fine, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, before closing the session, I want to share a few things about our intellectual property facilitation center here in MLRIT, which is granted by Ministry of MSME, Government of India, supported by, right? So here we are helping academic peoples, even mainly MSMEs. We are supporting them in terms of prior art search. Here we are doing prior art search completely free of cost. In the slide, I have given few sites about where you can do prior art search free of cost, right? Apart from that, some paid databases are also there, right? So that we are having. In that we are doing prior art search free of cost, right? So if anybody is willing to do prior art search, you can approach us. I think Tiju sir is having my contact details in chat box. Also, I am posting the mail ID. So if
Sir,
any
kindly
doubt,
share your contact details, sir. That will be useful for participants.
yeah, I'm sharing my mail ID for that you can
Okay.
contact. Right? Even we are helpful. We are helping academic peoples and MSME peoples in filing the patent IPRs also, right? So if anybody want to file a patent or industrial design or any copyright, we will be providing our help, right? You can approach us anytime through the mail ipfc@mlrinstitutions.ac.in.
Okay, shall we end up the session? Any queries? Okay, I will end up with vote of thanks. Good evening all. Hope this webinar will be very helpful and useful to your career growth. First of all, I would like to thank Almighty for providing strength and support for us to attend this webinar in this pandemic situation throughout our nation. I take this on behalf of Rajas Engineering College. I take this opportunity to propose vote of thanks to those who have directly and any queries? Indirectly contribute to this webinar on role of IPR in R&D organized by Rajas Engineering College. At the outset, I thank our resource person and my dear friend, Dr. Vivek Anand, Professor and IPFC in charge from MLR Institute of Technology, Hyderabad. We are really enlightened with your knowledge about IPR and your presence, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Also, we are thankful to our honorable and most respectful chairman, Dr. S.A. Joy Raja, for his encouragement and support for conducting this webinar. I would like to thank our principal, Dr. Marilyn Jones Lewis, for his encouragement and support. A special thanks to our co-institute design team for their support throughout this webinar. Also thank all our faculties of Rajas Engineering College Also, my heartfelt thank to all participants for their active participants throughout this webinar. With these warm words and kind message, I end up with my vote of thank. Thank you, one and all. Okay, thank you. We'll end up the session. Any queries? Certificate will be provided